Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Despina, thank you so much for inviting me over, coming over from Stern, the School of Business. I'm Jill Kickul. I'm the director of the Social Entrepreneurship Program. And I'll talk a little bit about kind of what we do before and also some opportunities too as well. Many of you, I think I have several students from my International Social Impact Strategies course. How many of you do we have here? Got quite a few. This is one course that we offer within our Social Innovation Impact Specialization that we open up pretty much across the university. And we work on a lot of different projects. This year we're going actually to Columbia. We're going to be working with the Foundation for Social Change and also the UN, which is great, on a number of different educational initiatives, and also using technology in a way to how do we deliver education and economic reform in several communities within Columbia. So I'm really delighted to do that. We were in India actually a couple of years ago. We were working with organizations that were doing some of the similar technologies that Bill was talking about before, and Toshi. We were working with a couple organizations that were looking at using the cell phone and mobile technology basically to deliver information about jobs, where are the different types of careers, also things also centered around where the jobs are. It was really and health information, of course. It was really a very interesting initiative that we had there, but using very, not necessarily cutting edge technology, but basic technology really for the masses and those that really needed it. As director of the Social Entrepreneurship Program, we run a social venture competition throughout, I think we're on our 8th venture competition. We've given out over about $1.5 million already to student venture firms. And this year the prize is $100K. We're actually doing our kickoff. In fact, some of the ideas that actually come out of this forum and out of these 2 days. If you are interested, we run an 8-month program that's taking the idea, the concept, the technology that you may have, and actually going and running a business model, running a business plan around it. Really seeing where is the innovation? Is it sustainable? Is it scalable? And it's a $100K prize. We're doing our kickoff on September 22nd, which is actually Thursday, over at the Stern School. If you're interested, come and see me. It's at 5 p.m. and really excited. We've had across the university, a lot of venture teams really launched here and really making it go with it. So definitely come in. Just even if you want to hear it, even if you don't have an idea or concept, but you want to, understand the process of how do you build, let's say, a business model, how do you build economic model kind of around an idea, or you just have one idea, but you need maybe someone across the university from another discipline or another area to lend your expertise. So it's really exciting what we're doing. We also run it at the student school, and this is open to also all students across the campus. In our Social Innovation Impact Specialization, we now have 21 courses specifically in that area. So if you're even in another school, you want to come over and maybe take and dabble in a couple of our courses, you're free to do so. We also have just launched last week a new course in Costa Rica on sustainable businesses. So a lot of opportunities. So I'm really excited to see kind of what's happening. So I'm going to talk a little bit today in terms of our overall philosophy and really where we're going in terms of where we see on the business side, how it really blends in terms of both on the technology side and also the social side. What is the type of innovation impact that we can have? And hopefully after 2 days being here, we'll have some innovations, but really some innovations that we can implement, we can actually do right on the ground. Jed Emerson, great New Yorker and a great guy, really a hero of mine. He says, there is an idea that values are divided between the financial and the societal, but this is fundamentally the wrong way to view how we create value. Value is holistic. The world is not divided into corporate bad guys and social heroes. And I think coming from a business school perspective, we've always been kind of on the other side, you know. We are the one, you know, the financial gain, this is what we want, this is we're after the money. And I'm seeing actually in terms of just, you know, with our students, with the undergraduates, how civically minded they are, how they really care, you know, about the society, how they care about individuals and families, and how they care about the environment. It is very, very inspiring to see. And wanting to use really their knowledge, skills, their business acumen to really come up with innovative solutions to some of the world's pressing problems. So it's a great, wonderful trend that we're actually seeing. In the business school and then kind of across within our program and our specialization, we look across in terms of all the different types of social entrepreneurs and enterprises that can be created and launched. Everything from your traditional nonprofit, of course, to your traditional for-profit. But you're really starting to see kind of a sustainability equilibrium, if you will. In between building a social enterprise, it could be a for-profit or a nonprofit. And in a lot of ways, in terms of seeing, okay, yes, we're doing well by doing good, but then how do we also use commercial methods basically to support some of the social problems and social programs that are out there. So really coming together in the middle in terms of where we see this kind of a blended value approach of how we look at problems and how we look at solutions. Global rise of social entrepreneurship. I'm so glad it's really a global rise because then I wouldn't have a job. But a lot of things happening in terms of just the awareness more so than anything else in terms of what we see is happening in the world. Don't necessarily have to be in another country. You can get onto the internet, get onto the web, and you can actually see some of the different types of problems that are happening. And we see in terms of also the international wealth disparity, what's going on. Even in the United States now, I think what the latest report on poverty now is since 83, it's now the highest it's ever been at 15.1%. It's pretty high. So we have our own problems here, but also awareness too, where the other problems in other countries are. And some of the things that we can do, unique solutions that we may have, and the technology that supports some of those solutions. I think we have a lot of opportunities there. And then just in the last 20 years, the whole CSR movement, of course. What we're really seeing though today is more of this approach of how do we bring together organizations and corporations who really are getting it just beyond just saying, oh, well, we're doing good in this one community. What they're really seeing is also the economic benefit, the bottom line benefit of really what they're doing for those communities and what they're doing for society. Mark Kramer and Michael Porter have a great article in Stanford Innovation Review kind of about this whole type of philosophy. And we're seeing more and more organizations. We work a lot with the Foundation for Social Change, but also we work quite a bit with SAP and also Nokia. We're working with them right now to deliver, even over mobile phones, just business and life skills to many women in India, in Nicaragua, in Colombia. And it's really very, very interesting to kind of see that wave. But also SAP, Nokia, they're all getting it. They have the technology. It's there, and they want to be able to do it. And what is the benefit? What's the impact are they going to have, on the next, let's say, life force or employment workforce that's going to be trained through these life skills? And what kind of new entrepreneurs are going to be seeded with those ideas to really generate a very vibrant and sustainable community? So, really a lot of great work ahead. This is kind of a framework, if you will. Some of the work that we were doing with McKinsey and their social sector office, looking at all the different types of opportunities, if you will, across kind of the social innovation area. So everything in terms of, and these are all different, these could be broad sectors that you could be working on right now. So everything from relief, responding to immediate crisis, tsunami, an earthquake. What are those innovations? What's the technology that can be implemented now and currently into that? It can be infused into the community. Stabilization, everything addressing basic needs, food, water, shelter. Enrichment, increasing the quality of life. So we're looking at healthcare innovations, we're looking at educational reform, many different things going on. We at the Stern School just hired Paul Romer, a pretty famous economist, is going to be coming in. He's bringing in a $10 million grant, $10 million grant focused on building charter cities. And the idea of building charter cities, how do we bring together a city and we do economic reforms? It's like a PlayStation, if you will. Economic reforms, technology reforms, educational reforms, and how can we use cities basically to change an entire country? Much like, let's say, a business or a firm would change the dynamics of an industry. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen there. It's all around enrichment. And then also transformation. So anything on the leading edge, really incredible innovations that could happen that advance kind of the human condition. Anything that we're seeing in the environment, the green tech, the clean tech movement are pretty good examples of that kind of broad sector. When we balance in terms of doing this, both the financial and the economic and also the social, we look at in terms of all the different things. And these are things in terms of if you're building a social business, you're building a social venture, what are the different types of things that you may be looking at? So all the things on the financial, which we teach within like a business school framework, but then also bringing the social into it. So everything in terms of your theory of change, what do you like to see happen with that innovation that you have, with that social, with that technology innovation you have? How is it going to change people's lives? Okay? And what is the impact going to be? We also are very, very focused on metrics. Okay? We want to know what is going to happen. What is, and really from a business perspective, what is going to be the social return on investment? We did a lot of work with the Foundation Center over the last couple of years. Also another initiative that was part of the work we did with Mackenzie. And we profiled 150 different ways of how we can assess and measure social impact. It's incredible work. If you go up, it's actually Tools and Resources for Assessing Social Impact. It's called TRACY, in short word, so tracyfoundationcenter.org. And across those sectors, those broad sectors that I was showcasing there, you can actually drill down and find all these different ways of how you measure both qualitatively and also quantitatively all the different ways of how you can say, yes, our work does matter. It does have a difference. So a lot of different ways with a blended value approach in terms of how we look at everything. We also you can see kind of the movement in terms of what's happening out there within the market. And you may see all the different types of opportunities, solutions and problems that are at the base of the pyramid, going all the way at the local food movement, the green building, green technology, of course, lifestyles for health and sustainability, the low house, and also, of course, microfinance. You get a chance to hear from Muhammad Yunus, really the leader, the father of microfinance. So a lot of different ways in terms of how our field, social entrepreneurship, social enterprise, is really bubbling up. New ideas are coming to the forefront. But then also, we're also starting to see some, technologies and innovations that are working, some that didn't work, and continue to adapt and evolve in terms of our own thinking, but how we implement them within, society. So the financial drivers, this is just, in terms of when we're looking at social entrepreneur, we need that fuel, we need maybe that seed money basically to get our idea or innovation kind of off the ground. So a whole host of different types of questions that we may be asking. Everything about, what's the combination of the financial, the social, and the environmental value? What is that combination? What's that value? Its whole, what is it actually capturing? Looking at financial sustainability too as well, kind of across, and how does it support basically that theory of change and that mission of that social enterprise, and looking at everything about different revenue models. Okay, if we're looking at financial sustainability, what's really the business model, the operating model that can support you beyond just pure charity, going out and actually really making it having a sustainability so you do have impact in the future. And so also we believe in a lot of ways that social enterprise and social entrepreneurship, it matters because there's new models for opportunity and innovation. And I tell you, probably not all the innovations and opportunities certainly don't come out of the business school. And what we see certainly, even across within our social venture competition, across the university in terms of really what's happening and really different disciplines, giving a different lens, if you will, to what is happening out there. We look at new models also for sustainability and development, new models of how we can actually scale into communities and the impact that we have, and then really new opportunities for teaching and also for learning. So a lot of good things coming out in terms of where our field is going. I mentioned impact a little bit. This is kind of a logic model, if you will, if we look at in terms of what we're able to do as social entrepreneurs, as change agents, everything that we on the business side are able to do, creating jobs, creating the products, creating that next technology that may come out of this, this two-day workshop, and really looking at it in terms of that overall societal development. So what does it do in terms of alleviating poverty? What does it do in increasing, enriching education, social stability, human rights, governance? So a whole host of things. When you're thinking about your innovation, what do you hope to achieve? What kind of difference, basically, do you want to see that happen with the innovation that you have created? We also talk a lot about all different types of dimensions within a social enterprise. So everything in terms of, I believe, many of the social problems and social kind of innovations that bubble up from those are a direct response to market and government failures in many, many ways. So what is that response to that market or government failure, and what's the innovation itself? And so when we dissect and we go through and we analyze a case, and these are several different organizations you may be familiar with, we look at in terms of their overall financial sustainability, the pricing that they may have. So One World Health, how many of you heard of One World Health before? Several of you maybe. One World Health basically is a nonprofit pharmaceutical company. Started a number of years ago. The idea was, how do we bring in kind of some of the medicines that have been, let's say, already created here, but getting them into communities where it's really needed, very much needed, in countries that, developing countries that do not have, let's say, access to any of the type of medicine or any of the drugs. And so a lot of ways, it's a great story. If you're interested, I can profile, I can send you actually to their website, but also kind of the video that talks about, the leader who talks about their sustainability and how they went through pricing and everything like that. So really, it's a wonderful model to look at. We also look at things also besides financial sustainability. We look at cost structure, and then of course the impact, certainly on the market. Okay. So other things, just to kind of wrap up here a little bit too. When we look at scaling kind of the future art innovations and at the business school in terms of what are the educational opportunities that are out there, and what are the educational opportunities here at NYU, now that we have multiple disciplines, we don't need to be siloed. I'm so glad that Despina asked me to come over here. This is one of the first times I've actually been over here, so it's just great. We need to work together, and I think our students work together probably more so than the professors, absolutely. So, but there's a lot of opportunities in terms of where we're going. Paul Light, who's over at the Wagner School of Public Policy, he likes to say that social entrepreneurship really should be coming from the top. It is a meta profession because it really does blend everything with public policy, with law, with medicine, with arts, with engineering. Just need to find better ways of how we can cross-fertilize our ideas and really come together in terms of coming up with innovations. Also in terms of on the social innovation, we look at scale too as well, and everything in terms of the content. How can we deliver the best content based on your skills and what you really, your interests, what the students want. Here's a number of content in terms of the different types of courses that we offer at the Stern School, everything from leading sustainable enterprises. We have a social venture fund practicum, which we're going to get up and running again, where we actually work with organizations within New York. We vet ideas. We also consult with many of the social enterprises too as well. Global Poverty Alleviation, Michael Spence, our Nobel laureate, actually teaches that course. We have a course on eco-leadership, energy and the environment, and a lot of new courses that are certainly bubbling up. We also look at ways of how we teach. So what we teach, yeah, that's great, the content, but how do we teach it? How can we teach it differently outside the boundaries of a classroom? How can we get our students outside the classroom basically to talk with others within other disciplines, with other skill sets, with other experiences? And what kind of other experiences can we put them right on the ground so they're actually learning about different countries, international development, and what have you. And then really, in terms of our own community here, New York is fabulous in terms of the social enterprise community. Probably one of the best outside of probably San Francisco in some ways. But putting together that collaboration, the public-private partnerships that are out there, how do universities work with the private sector? How can we really help you in a lot of ways in terms of you're building out your social innovation, you're building out your change. How can we actually make that happen? And we're here at NYU, this is where we should be. And also, just as we preach in terms of with our social entrepreneurs, the impact that we're going to have, we also need to measure that too, kind of across the university. And how are innovations being implemented? And why should we care that, we should really care that many of our ideas are actually being seeded and they're actually making a difference in both community and also society. So it does make very much. So the innovation, the scale, the sustainability, the impact, a lot of the themes that we talk about in the business school. But I think, around just any type of idea that you have, any type of innovation that you have, I think in terms of really making it, this is a great this is a great seeding ground. And if you have any questions in terms of how different schools can work together, I'm all ears too. So thank you.
Thank you.